The industry faces the daunting challenge of maintaining reliability and affordability, while at the same time offering a commodity that moves with the speed of light. I'm talking about the electrical utility industry, and which is impossible to store in any meaningful way, at least until there is a widespread development of hybrid electric vehicles. We're told that electric cars could, along with smart grid technology, allow electric utilities to use car batteries to store electricity in ways that help them meet critical peak loads and avoid the current astronomical costs of critical peak power. Even more exciting, we could fill up the batteries in these cars at a cost equivalent of 75 cents per gallon of gasoline. There would also be a net reduction in carbon dioxide emission if cars shift to a power system bottomed on the use of electricity. So clearly, the electric utility industry has reason to be as excited about the emergence of hybrid electric vehicles as the transportation industry. As we move forward on the legislative process, I hope the electric utility industry will be engaged as the transportation industry has been to this point. Developing climate change legislation that is comprehensive, reasonable, and effective is no small challenge. You will note that the Senate had an opportunity to learn this hard lesson this week. Already, the Committee on Energy and Commerce has had 20 hearings on the issue during this congressional session. We've also scheduled 2 more hearings on legislation now pending. We have heard from policy experts, environmental advocates, and industry leaders. As part of the legislative process, we're also issuing a series of white papers that identify issues on which further information and discussion is desirable. And I would tell you that I would appreciate anyone here who would have a look at these papers. We've been criticized on them because it was said, Dingell, you have not come forward with these papers with a solution. And we have said we are not presenting a solution. We are seeking discussion to lead us to a consensus and to a way of working together towards the resolution of perhaps the largest single environmental problem that we confront in this nation today. This month, as mentioned, we're going to hold hearings on bills pending. We will include in that the Lieberman-Warner bill, as well as others. These hearings will be conducted in a way to examine the strengths, weaknesses, and practicality of pending proposals, and to enable us to prepare our efforts to move forward with a concrete legislative conclusion. I want to end by saying how pleased I am that you're holding this conference. I want to tell you how flattered I am that you would have me here to speak to you tonight. I want you to know that electrical vehicles and plug-in hybrids have the potential to revolutionize not only the American automobile industry, but our entire energy mix. At the same time, however, we're going to have to consider not only the advantages of electric cars and plug-in hybrids, but we're also going to have to keep in mind the source of electricity for these vehicles. And I would urge you to ask yourself, are we going to better ourselves significantly by moving from gasoline to coal-fired plants? Or are we going to have to use new things, such as, again, returning to the development of nuclear power to provide us with the resources we need to make this part of our energy and transportation system, in fact, work? If every new vehicle sold in the next decade is electric, we will confront a situation where we're going to have to ask, have we simply pushed the source of carbon emissions upstream? How will we meet, then, this new demand for electricity? Will we burn more coal? Will carbon capture and sequestration be ready? And will we, as I have mentioned, find it useful or necessary to return to nuclear power? All of these ideas will require honest and open and frank discussion. And they require us to have an honest willingness to come to a consensus, because they're going to affect the quality of life, the future, the hopes, the dreams, and expectation of every American. But I can say this with more than a little certainty. None of these things will be a reality, and there will be no legislation enacted which will really address our national problems until we have a new administration that brings real vision and real vigor and real leadership and fresh thinking to our energy policy debate. Like many of you, I'm excited about that, and I hope that this new administration, which lies before us, will portend a real and a vigorous approach and real and vigorous leadership to our desire to address a major problem. And I'm sure that everyone in this room, including this speaker to you, are anxious not only to see that event occur, but very frankly also to be a participant in the undertaking. Thank you very much.